Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Another fine edition, if I do say so myself, of Dr. Homebrew. I say it's fine because it hasn't really started yet.
You have no idea how it's going to turn out.
Right. Everything so far has been a 10, I think. Maybe even 11. I have no idea. But at the end of the night, who knows? 4, maybe 5. I don't know.
Just that deep, muddy pit of cold water with broken glass in the bottom. It hits a 2 or 1.
You should have no idea.
Yeah.
Like,
that won't happen.
No.
That won't happen here.
It'd be like Beardy's finger. I don't know, for those of you who haven't gone NHC or whatever and listened live, the night before we left for National Homebrewers Conference, Warren is cleaning out a carboy, my carboy, that piece of... and broke it and sliced his finger pretty good. Got like 11 stitches.
Yeah, that was an ugly-looking cut.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. I myself have never broken a carboy, so I can't.
You have people do that for you.
That's true.
I'll have my people break a carboy once in a while. That's kind of what you say, right?
Just to keep all the carboys in line?
Just to keep it real around here.
Yeah.
Your carboy bitches.
That's right.
Warren, the carboy bitch?
He's not here. We can call him whatever we want.
That's true.
He's
Brian
not that
makes
far
a good
away.
point.
He could be here in a few minutes.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Well, no. A normal
hours.
person could be here in a few minutes. It would take Warren 20 minutes just to leave the friggin' house.
That's a different matter.
Yeah, and then he would stop at all the yield signs because he doesn't understand the word stop and yield, apparently. And it would take him... He wouldn't be here for an hour if he left right now.
I did not know this about him.
Yeah, he's very slow.
Okay.
Yeah, but handsome.
He seemed in good spirits at the conference.
Fabulous
I didn't notice any gashes or... Maybe he's anesthetizing himself with mass quantities of good homebrew there.
Maybe. There were a lot of good beers there. I know we talked about it on the last show, but there were some pretty delicious beers. And we got some feedback. I do the feedback for the session. There was some feedback about, there's terrible beer. And I'm like, did I write this?
My whorehouse tart was pretty popular.
Your explain yourself. I don't understand what that means.
I don't want to get into it. It's a blended sour beer.
Oh, is it it's
not
the beer
Bucket
suicide?
beer.
It's not Dump Bucket Sour?
But it's equally stupid.
What is it?
You brought it up, Brian.
How long will it take to explain? Because it sounds like it's going to be like an hour-long conversation.
I had a bad batch of beer.
Yeah.
I dumped some bread into it, and I let it go, and I just forgot about it.
Okay.
And then later, I'm a crappy, horrible brewer, I guess. I had another bad... Or just some beer that was kind of going south a little bit. Anyway, and then also along the way, I would dump in hydrometer samples, and now I'm dumping leftover, like after we judge the Dr. Homebrew beers at home. Your beer may end up in my sour beer blend.
Okay. Hold on a second. So you had you're hurting my brain. You had a sour beer that you forgot about, and then you decided, I'll just keep adding all these like homeless beers.
Yeah,
like,
and then I had another
half
one.
pours of beer. Like,
so you hadn't forgot about it, really.
And then I got some beer from my friend Jack Weldon that was actually a pretty nice sour they had in a barrel, and he was just trying to empty out the barrel.
Was it intentional
and
or not?
It was pretty good, and some of my beers were, they were coming along.
Yeah.
So then I just had a blending party by myself, of course.
Is that a
party of one?
Is that a party?
Where I took some...
just blending by yourself?
Shot glasses out and teaspoons. It was a very non-scientific blend, but I was like, well, maybe a third of this with... a quarter of that, and then whatever is left of this would make a good beer. And Whorehouse Tart 1 was born, and it was pretty good.
Yeah. So then after your stay at the mental hospital that your wife put you in, is it you're better now?
This one was Whorehouse Tart 4, and it was like the most popular keg at the Mad Scientist booth. We pretty much blew it between club night and our shift at the hospitality suite. It was we just finished the last pint like 2 nights ago. There was like 1 pint left in it. Literally.
You are the weirdest person in this room. maybe.
And we don't even know the 4 who just walked in, really.
That's right. We have no idea. We have no idea. But they're all judging you.
I'm going to blindly submit my tart beer and to the show sometime and just pretend to be somebody else.
Be Carl from Wisconsin. I love Dr. Homebrew. It's the best show, especially Brian. He's so witty and clever. Don't you have a joke to tell us, Brian?
No, I don't.
You don't? I set you up with that, and you're just going to go no, huh?
So, 3 vampires walk into a bar. First one says, I'd like some blood.
Okay.
Second vampire says, I too would like blood. A third vampire says, I would like plasma. The bartender says, 2 bloods and a blood light. Okay. Here you go, boys. Sorry. I was reading my friend's Facebook postings earlier, and it was just amusing me.
The screw-up was better than the punchline.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wish we had a camera right now. Bev's not here. Our last 2 shows haven't had cameras, but they're very good, Brian. You did great.
Thank you. I'm going to stop expressing any witticisms from here out. Just buy the book.
You might get called out.
Just buy the book.
Yes. Just like the post office sells their stamps.
There you go.
Buy the book. Very regimented.
Thanks, Brian.
One book has 20 stamps.
Turn Brian's mic off. Before we get going, I want to thank our sponsor, 5-Star. You can go to 5starchemicals.com and learn all about what it takes to make things that are opposite of Brian's whorehouse fireman blonde or whatever it is. If you want intentional sour beers, that's fine. But if you don't, and if you want clean beer and clean home brew, check out 5starchemicals.com. They got PBW, Star San, all that kind of stuff. And for people who are on the show, you submit your beers, you get a nice little sample pack and a cool thing from 5-Star. So those guys hook it up. We love 5-Star. They love you. And conversely, we love you, I think, right? Anyway, however that works. But check them out, 5starchemicals.com. Did I confuse everybody?
I don't know if I'm in the 60s or I'm feeling creepy now.
What did you just say?
I don't know.
What did someone slip into my Nelson here?
I have no idea. Bubbles.
JP's been crossed with Barney.
Maybe.
Teletubbies.
That's true.
Tele-JPs.
Yeah, the purple one.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the show we have going on. So we have Chris, Dave, Ryan, and Dandridge, right? And you guys are from Napa.
That's right.
What club? What's the club up there?
The Bung Brewers.
The Bung Brewers.
That's a shortening of your club's name, isn't it?
The Brewers United Napa Guild.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
With the Bung Brewers. I like it. Sounds good. In 20 minutes, Brian will have some sort of witticism written about it.
Clubs love their acronym.
When I was taking classes at UC Davis,
is this the witticism?
It was no.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just a comment.
Story. Okay.
I just loved, Michael Lewis. He was talking about the brewing, and then he'd talk about the bung, and kept saying bung, and I'm kind of a fan of Beavis and Butthead, so yeah. I'm in the back going
bung. Who doesn't? Okay, so you fellas have brewed a porter. It's basically a porter project. So this show is not going to be like any other show where you just submitted some beers and then we go through them and then we shuffle you off. Like this is, in fact, the Bung show. The Bungers. The Bungers? What do you call yourselves? What's plural for Bung Brewer?
Either the Bungs or the Bung Brewers.
The Bung Brewers. The Bungs. I like the Bungs, I think.
Do not call them bung holes.
No, not the bung holes.
That would be insulting.
Right. That's easier to pluralize.
This is going to be the porters of the bungs.
That's right. The bung porters. So what did you guys do here? Why do we have all these beers?
So basically we came up on a bunch of grain, like half sacks of chocolate and Cara and rye, etc. And so how are we going to get rid of this much dark grain? So we're planning a club project just to brew and starting to develop some recipes is the first one. And like 20 so people brewed it. And we picked just the 3 most similar, cleanly brewed beers to present to you guys, just to really look at process. The only variable here was yeast. And even then, it's clean English yeast. So process is here.
Yeast and the brewer who did the brewing.
That's correct.
Right, so it's different houses. It wasn't one big combined batch.
No. Okay. Like 20 separate batches.
20
all
batches.
Different, all different brew houses. And you've got 3 of them.
Okay.
That's a big project.
Yeah, that's a lot to sort through. Who wrote the recipe for this?
I did.
Okay. Are you the president of the Bungs?
No, just the guy who had all the grain, who came up on the grain, kind of reached out to me and said, "Hey, can we put something together?"
He's the one who comes up with crazy ideas and said, "We could do this."
Yeah, I think we can make this happen. So this is effectively just a project to test process.
Correct, and
right?
it's not even so strictly. I mean, it's more or less a porter, but we were working within the constraints of we only had certain malts, and so we did the best we could with those malts. But really, it was just let's look at everyone's process. We have brew in a bag. We've got coolers. We have 3-tier Blickman systems. We got tippy dumps. So you get the whole 9 yards in the club, and just what's everybody going to make? Yeah. Not to mention fermentation.
Do we have any variables like that here? Like, is one of these a brew in the bag, or is it all grain, or what did you guys do?
They're all grain.
Not that brew in a bag is.
I think you have a cooler system.
2 coolers and 1 kettle.
I use a cooler for a mash tun, and Jeff, who couldn't be here with us, he uses a recirculating mash tun.
Okay.
Bottom fired.
Okay, that's pretty different. Those are all fairly. The variables can be pretty high, right, Lee?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
especially when you have different people using them.
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Well, I kind of want to drink them. What do you say we take a break and
drink them all?
And drink them all and then come back. So we have 4 minutes to drink all of these beers. Do you think we can do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Quarter late.
I'll get the funnel. All right, everyone. It's Dr. Homebrew. When you come back, we're going to run through these beers from the Bungmen. From
the brewing to the bung.
Yeah.
The Bungmen.
It's Dr. Homebrew. We'll be back after this.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Cans.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business. Now, back to the examination.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It's Dr. Homebrew. Just opening some beers, no big deal. So, Lee, you were saying that this is a robust
porter. That's what they told us.
Okay.
That sounds about right for the beers we got.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Chris, were you trying to hit a specific style or just a general porter and kind of whatever happened?
We weren't aiming for a clone. We were just kind of pitching right down the middle of the style.
Okay, so robust porter is fine with you.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Lee, you want to give us
that's what they told us.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
You want to give us a general overview of what to expect here from a robust porter, please?
Dark beer.
Great,
but not a stout.
Perfect. So,
let's move on. The word dense description they give in the guidelines for the overall impression of a robust porter is a substantial malty dark ale with complex and flavorful roasty character. There's a lot of room for interpretation in this style. And some of the borderlines of other styles like brown ales and stouts can be a little bit fuzzy at times.
Okay.
Really, it should be more about coffee, chocolate. It probably could have some ashier, darker roast flavors in there too, but it shouldn't really be about those, whereas a stout's kind of about those intense, dark, roasty flavors. So, there's a lot of variation there. You can go from brown porters where black patent and roasted malts usually just for coloring, if not more than anything else, up to the deeper, more intense sort of roasted malty flavors you get in a robust porter. But it can cover a big range. Hops can have lots of hops, can have no hops or no apparent hops for flavor, moderate bittering at best. That can vary a lot. People might divide that out into English or American characters, depending on what your hopping rate is and what kind of yeast you use. And I think we may see this divide a bit in the guidelines that are coming out next.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it's all about. I don't think we want to go too deep into the history of these things. Now they came out of England with porters and stouts and the 15 million different variants. But,
so essentially just dark beer, not super acrid,
right?
Not real hoppy.
Some of them can be pretty. Some American stouts can be pretty hoppy, but usually they're not. It should be more about sort of darker, chocolatier malts, some caramel character is pretty common, maybe some yeast character if you're more in the English direction, and maybe not. Yeah.
Warren's here.
Oh, he did come. How long did it take him to get
here? He stopped and looked. He looked very confused as to what was going on. So I had to tell him that.
He's not looking. Oh wait, damn it! I'd flip him off if he's looking. Okay, but that's a different story.
If we had room, I'd ask him.
It's a friendly thing, though. Yeah. Okay.
So
that's a robust porter.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. And that's
Beer, do you know sign language?
No, he does not. He doesn't know anything. Okay, so which one do we have here?
So
which
what
is
do we
the first
have
one
here?
we're
the first
going
one
through?
we've got before us is Chris's robust porter.
All right.
So we're going to start with you, Chris.
Okay.
You're closer. You're the closest.
That's right. You're the closest. That's right. Which might be dangerous, but that's why we chose you.
I thought this beer had a nice, rich, inviting aroma to it for myself. I had aroma-wise, it's rich and roasty up front, a little bit of coffee in there, and it seems like a clean ale ferment. Got a little touch of some smoky peatiness. What do you get in the aroma?
For me, I thought the aroma was nice on this beer. Grainy malt, some dried cocoa, maybe a little bit of raisiny character to it. A little maybe berry cherry kind of ester. Didn't pick up any hops, no diacetyl or DMS that was in there. It was pretty clean, pretty decent aroma overall.
And all the beers did look similar. So it looks like a porter. What do you know?
It's
good.
Brown
That's a good sign.
beer.
Yeah.
The head stuck around pretty well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
In the flavor, Lee and I discussed this beer, we got kind of an interesting character to it, and it's not the primary character of the beer, but one thing that we both kind of came to was that it has a little bit of a roasty acidity to it. Kind of, it's a little bit more acidic than a lot of robust porters that we've had. And it doesn't seem like it's intensely going sour. I don't know how this beer has changed over time either, or if it's getting more of that character over time, and Chris could probably tell us that, but it's just a little odd twist to the roastiness. It's roast malt by itself is pretty acidic, and depending on the ways you use it, you can pull different flavors out of it. If you use a higher temperature sparge. You can extract more harsh, tannins and harsh astringency out of it in the mouthfeel, but also these kind of a little more biting flavors that you can get. And I don't know if that's what happened here. It doesn't seem like it's a beer that's going sour to me because it doesn't have the funk. But if it is going sour, it's having like a clean little lactic edge to it, or not lactobacillus.
I get it like a little tart thing versus a set. Yes, yes. Why is that? What do you think? What do you think's going on?
We were a bit puzzled as the cause.
Okay.
So, I mean, it has both this kind of very drying, almost astringent character. To me, it had a little metallic note to it, and this sort of sourness to it, this sort of medium-low sourness. A little more than low in my mind. It's pretty prominent. Not like in your face, but it's definitely there. And usually, if you got a sort of an astringent character in a dark beer, the first place I'd look is like over sparging. But usually that will happen when the water pH rises too high. And this, if anything, is obviously a low pH beer. So I'm not sure I could pin down any one cause for all these things. So there might be a couple different things going on, and that could get complicated to figure out.
Or if the temperature's too high, or if you run your sparge too long, or
there's other things that could happen.
So so you're saying it's not necessarily a contaminant.
It doesn't. The sourness doesn't quite come across like there's a microbe that's unwelcome in here. Usually when you have that, you'll also get like some bacills, some DMS, some phenolics, some vegetal or something like that. And really there's not much of there or any of that kind of character in there. It's almost like a clean sour, but it's really more intense than you get just out of a mash where the pH went a little too low because you had a lot of dark grain in there. I wouldn't expect it to be this sour.
Yeah, where we ask the guy, did you let your mash just sit overnight or anything like that? No, let it kind of sour.
Well, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about your process here?
Yeah, sure. Well, first off, this very much surprised me, the taste and the sample that you guys have had, and that's very much, for me, a bottling and cellaring issue. I have some cold examples over here. Tasted last Saturday. Completely different.
No, maybe we should open them.
Yeah, let's fire those up.
This actually is very similar to the bottles both me and Brian had.
Sure.
A few days ago.
They got milled off on a very hot day in Napa, and like I say, I know from competition my beer does not travel well, and that's probably just my bottling is not the best. I don't do a lot of it, and so anyway, as far as process is concerned. I do watch my pH. I've had this beer for quite some time. Brewed it in late January, and so it's had plenty of time in bottle to develop any off character that you're probably sensing.
So Brian just poured us. Sorry, Chris just gave us another bottle of this same batch.
Exact same batch
that you said you'd kept cold.
Yeah,
wow. It is a totally different beast.
Under 40 for the entire time.
So the sourness is not there.
That's correct, yeah.
It's much richer malt flavor.
Let's talk about your bottling procedures, bud. I think we've honed in on what's going on here.
As the show progresses, Brian develops accents. I'm just noticing this now.
Yeah, alcoholic-inspired accents.
Where are you from, the Midwest or the East Coast? I'm from alcoholic land. And anyway, sorry, Brian, go ahead, please.
Let's talk about Chris's bottling procedure, please. May we speak about that now?
Sure. We may.
I like about how the logo on JP's shirt kind of looks like an angular brain. It's this Wireman logo with the Wireman malt thing. It's a crosshatch.
It looks
kind of like a brain full of triangles.
Perfect.
It inspires me to speak in funny accents.
I walked by their booth at NHC and they said, "You do not have a red shirt on." I said, I don't.
Yeah, I will survive the NHC.
Here, you need a red
Star
shirt.
Trek joke for you.
I've got a red shirt.
Well, you never know.
It's
I didn't get the red shirt memo, guys.
All right, continue, Brian.
Okay, so bottling.
Bottling, yeah.
So Blickman beer gun, run PBW, sanitizer through it before I use it. Sanitize bottles. I'm a iodophore guy, always have been. Sanitize my caps. Use the rack bottling thing to keep my bottles upside down. I do usually 2 or 3 at a time. Let them sit on the table and then cap them.
You purge the bottles with CO2 when you're filling them, or
Yep.
Yeah. The beer gun does that for you, right? Or,
well, you have to push the button.
Yeah. Remember?
Can you take those beer guns apart and clean them out?
Kind of.
I don't have one of those things.
Yeah,
so
you can actually pull the little clips apart, and it comes with a little bottle brush. You can clean the inside.
You can inspect the inside and get something in there to get rid of any chunks or stickies on the sides.
Well, those are generally nice tools. I was like, when I asked him that, let's talk about your bottling procedure. I'm like, I know he's going to have like the awesomest equipment and the beer gun and all the
Well, probably is that I bottle every few months, and I should probably just throw the hose away between.
That could be your weak spot. Yeah, give it a quick look over. Whatever it is, I mean, you've got some good equipment and some good technique there. Mm-hmm. Something did not work.
No, agreed.
It's really, I mean, with that in mind, I would say my initial guess that it wasn't really microbial. Probably it is if it went that sour in the bottle.
The astringent part your general yeast that's floating around the air.
The astringency part maybe could just be what's dark, gross grain left over after some of the malt's been eaten out and making it out of balance. But that it's really pretty sour. And the other beer that you just poured for us is totally clean and it's quite nice.
Is it something that is consistent through all your beers, or is it kind of hit or miss? Like, have you had this specific problem before?
I would say yes. Okay. Probably when I've shipped beer a long way. Then I will have issues like that. Like I sent some beer up to the Upper Mississippi Mash Out a couple years ago. Just couldn't get good beer there.
Did it go sour like this, or was there something else?
No, it was just generally just not happy beer.
Yeah,
just not very.
Usually, if you ship it, if it gets warm and gets shaken up, the problems you're looking at are accelerated aging, staling, oxidation, things like that, which is kind of what you just described probably.
Sure.
It's just not happy, but it's not like overtly sour or anything this is.
Just a lot of like high 20s type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you bottle the bottles that you brought?
Probably early April. All of them at the same time.
Because, I mean... And
the ones you have as well.
Okay, and I don't know if I'm just thinking about it weird or letting my brain fool me, but I swear I pick up a slight twang in the new bottle that's very reminiscent of the old bottle, and I wonder if it's just, when you bottle them, you just probably leave them in your fridge or whatever, I would imagine, right?
Right.
And so it's just the difference of not being cold. The flavor still can be developing a little bit, but not as a rapid state as if they get shipped to my house and I leave them in my trunk.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. I didn't really leave my trunk.
It's a storage issue, I guess you could say. It's as opposed to a bottling issue, but
I'd be curious to see like if you just bottle some and then leave them on your counter, don't ship them anywhere, but just leave them there and wait a week or two and see if that kind of starts.
The problem's still there. It's just it's with extremely good conditioning.
You're forcing it to go dormant, leaving it in your fridge, right?
Right.
I don't know.
It's possible. Some microbes might be that temperature sensitive. We're talking about a month and a half here, 2 months.
April.
Yeah.
April.
Yeah, the difference between being cold and warm could be that big. I don't know. Bugs are hard to predict. But if depending how warm it got and how shaken up when you shipped it, that could have accelerated any microbial part. I mean, it might be an interesting experiment for you to do is to pull one of these bottles out of your fridge and leave it sit in your garage over a hot weekend. And see if it just goes south and gets sour.
Sure.
Then you can say you've got the same thing in that bottle too, and it was probably something endemic to your system like a hose or cleaning inside the gun that needs to be improved. Whereas if that doesn't change, let it sit for a couple weeks after that, it doesn't change, maybe it was just some of the bottles and we got the unlucky ones had something in them that went south.
Or it's in the keg. I mean, it could be your racking process.
The keg, it's probably be in all of them. So that's the point. If it's something that all the beer saw, like a keg or a hose or the gun, if you took one of those good bottles out and let it sit out and get real warm and shake it up, then that beer will get sour too. Whereas if it's just a couple of the bottles that were bad, that he takes a new one out, a fresh one out, it may or may not do it.
Well, right, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Whereas it may not be doing it because they've been in the fridge for this long, but the one that we have hasn't been.
Right.
So if you get it consistently, it may not even be bottling. It may be pre-bottling. It may be the spigot from the bucket in the keg or however you rack. Do you carboy or what do you ferment in?
Carboys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could maybe even racking tubing or
it could go all the way back.
Yeah. Yep.
Anything post boil in theory. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's a pity the good ones didn't get to us because this is quite nice. It's actually rich. It's got some nice chocolatey, caramelly kind of character to it. It's a very nice balance, very smooth. It's a very nice porter, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just added 8 points.
Yeah, I'd probably score a good 15 to 20 points over what I scored the sour one.
That's when people ask to try my beer, I invite them to my house.
That's always good, yes.
I'll ship you a bus ticket.
Yeah. No, I mean, sorry, but to be honest, the sour one I gave about a 21 on the score sheet because between the sour and the astringency and the metallic, it's just they were all bad enough that to me, I just didn't want to drink the beer.
I'm not
it was
drinking
getting
it.
problematic. But the fresh one was very nice. It'd probably score upper 30s, maybe even 40.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome.
So process, yes, you have an issue.
Okay.
And it's probably a sanitation issue.
Yeah.
Probably in the bottling.
Yeah, it could well be. You'll have to hunt that out.
I kicked the keg of it like a week ago, and it was doing just fine.
Okay. Yeah. So something for you to ferret out where exactly it's happening.
Great.
Change out that plastic equipment, anywhere along the line. Anywhere you transfer beer after it gets cold.
Dump your hose and, make sure your kegs are clean and all that kind of funky stuff.
Plastic is cheap.
Who's next?
Like life. Oh,
let's
who's next?
do
Is
Dave's, right?
Dave, yes.
All right. You got my opener? No, I got my opener.
Where's Dave's bottle? Okay.
The short
So,
ones.
Dave, how long you been brewing?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
All right. How'd you get sucked into the? How'd you get the bung sucked? I don't know.
Bung sucked into
trying
me.
to be funny, but it's not working. How did you hook up with these guys?
One of my friends in town, he's a beekeeper, and he just got me started with brewing. He did extract brewing, and brewed with him once. I liked the idea of doing it, and then pretty much decided to buy my own gear and just bought all grain gear and started from there.
Cool.
I mean, I just went head first.
You just went into all grain. You didn't do monkey around with extracts?
No, we did the one, and
you did the one. Okay, yeah.
did the one, and I thought if I'm going to buy the equipment, I may as well just go the little bit extra and just have it all there. Because I did 2 coolers, 1 boil kettle, so I figured the coolers weren't that expensive.
Right. Yeah, they're not. They're pretty cheap, and they're a good piece of equipment for sure.
I'm still having trouble nailing down temperatures, but
okay. So how off are you on the what happens? Do you overshoot or do you undershoot or
both?
Okay.
It's depending on the time of year and whether I've gone from 5 or 10 gallons seems to really affect it. If I do 10 gallons, the volume of the cooler it doesn't extract as much heat. And if I do a 5 gallon, I seem to lose more heat in the cooler.
Okay.
And I think I use a Beersmith, and it doesn't help me account for 5 or 10 in the same cooler.
Okay.
I think that's my problem. I don't know.
Okay. Wow. Bless you.
Excuse me.
Well, hopefully we can sort some of that stuff out for you.
But I learned everything I know from pretty much the one guy that taught me and guys at the brew club here.
Oh, nice.
I just watched a few people brew and
that's
looked at their process, decided what I wanted to buy, and took their input. And
yeah, it's always good to join a club and watch other brewers do it. That's like when you brew extract for a while and you're like, I really, you read about all grains, like it sounds a little intimidating. Then you just watch someone do it. It's like, oh, well, that's kind of easy.
It's really easy.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Go out to the store and buy the stuff I need right now, and
the hard stuff is all just
a couple coolers, little fittings,
controlling the temperature. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, why don't you start off with Dave's beer?
Yeah. In the aroma, I found a light little phenolic in the aroma, kind of a little medicinal character in it. And it's kind of covering up some of the other elements. I'm getting a lot of chocolate, which is nice, and a little roast in there. No hop, and no DMS or diacetyl or anything like that.
First, we should ask: does this smell like the beers that you have at your house?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
Okay, all right, good.
I actually bottled 2 today just in case.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that we got some fresh examples.
What did you do to our beer, JP?
It's a pretty beer.
Put it in the trunk of my car.
It was Beardy that did it.
Yeah,
Beardy. Yeah. And the flavor, it's also pretty, looks like a like a porter.
Looks like a porter.
Should.
Yeah, good.
Brown, dark brown, and the head's sticking around nicely. But flavor wise, it has a nice some roasty notes in there, and in the flavor, I'm not getting as much as of the background note of that chlorophenol that I was getting in the aroma, and then even in the aroma, it's kind of fading. There's like this light little whiff of medicinal something that comes out at first that bugged me a little bit, but yeah, it has a kind of a low, the hop is very background where it should be, kind of a low earthy hop flavor in there. It was also slightly acidic and biting in the sample I had, but I think this sample might be a little bit better, honestly. What do you think, Lee? Does this one taste like the one you tasted
it's
at home?
pretty similar, yeah.
Fairly similar, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit less than some of the phenolics, but they're there, yeah.
So if there's variance in the bottles, it's probably a case of the bottle condition. Recycled bottles.
It's possible. It's hard to say for sure, but...
A lot of times phenolics will come up from wild yeast, though, or... and it's like the old thing was, people used chlorine to sanitize. Of course, nobody does that anymore. Like, if you don't rinse it like extremely carefully, if you use bleach as a sanitizer, it just, you get an instant chlorophenolic. But I haven't come across anyone who's doing that anymore lately. So,
did you guys crack open one of the fresh bottles?
Yeah, just to compare.
That's not a fresh one. Fresh ones are in my bag.
Oh, this is not off the keg, but it's one I've had cold since you gave it to me 3 months ago.
Oh, okay.
And?
Is it different?
Is that the same thing?
No, that's the one you gave me.
Okay. Oh. Is it different? I would say it has the same thing, maybe a little bit less intense. Brian, here's some of this if you want. Yeah, the phenolics are often a wild yeast issue. I mean, it could happen in the fermenter and maybe just not have been very apparent and it's slowly growing over time, or it could have gotten in during bottling. It's really hard to say. I mean, unless you get a clear, some bottles have it, some bottles don't. If you get that kind of pattern, then maybe it's the bottles themselves that are doing it. If it's everywhere, then it's probably something upstream with the bottles. Yeah. Other than that, actually, the phenolic flavors and aromas, I mean, it's probably some wild yeast in there. It's fighting against his base beer, which is obviously very similar to the one Chris had from the bottle that he kept cold, brought in. It's got a really nice cocoa malt flavor, some nice little richness, little caramel notes underneath. It's actually a really good beer.
It's a good recipe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the recipe is awesome.
And I would say the brewing, the mashing, and the balance and all that is spot on. It's very nice. It's just got this phenolic over the top, which is not very pleasant.
I get a clove.
I think like a peppermint.
Peppermint? Huh.
Yeah.
I like peppermint.
I don't get peppermint.
Yeah, I could sort of see that. For me, it's like white pepper with a touch of shower curtain. Plastic shower curtain. Plastic shower curtain, kind of. Yeah, not much.
Yeah. When was the last time you licked a shower curtain?
I don't have to. I just smell them. Actually, I have glass doors in my bathroom, but yeah. Oh, you ever go get those really plasticky shower curtains you can smell from a mile away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to.
Like probably this weekend at NHC.
And I mean, sometimes I just go over to CVS or IKEA and I just go and sniff the shower curtains.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. It's fun.
Are you trying to out-weird me, Lee? Come on.
I couldn't shoot that eye, Brian.
No,
yes.
I don't think it smells like a shower curtain. When we use terminology like that, it's not meant to be offensive. It's just like to give you an impression of like we're getting a hint of this in the beer, and it has the impression of like that. I think that
yes, it's a very subtle thing that I'm picking up here. Yeah, it's not like it's not like snorting a fistful of shower curtain. But I'm trying to get across this impression of a kind of a plasticky aroma.
Yeah. An exaggerated descriptor.
Yeah, by using something that you probably have a very good idea what it smells like. That sort of nasty plastic shower curtain, but it's very faint. It's more kind of a perfumey kind of aroma that comes out, more a slight pepperiness.
It's in both of them.
It's with the edge of this plasticky.
A little like plastic and clove, and I'm pretty much convinced that it's something that's going on in primary, and it doesn't seem to be a bottle issue. I'm getting it in both of them, and it's it's just something is getting a little happier in your beer besides the intended yeast strain, and it can happen at any point. There's wild yeast floating around the air all the time. What do you do when you're cooling your beer? Do you have it covered? Are you?
Yeah, it's covered.
Yeah.
I keep the lid on. I whirlpool it while I'm cooling.
Okay, yeah, cool. I get really paranoid with mine. I have my, there's a little gap that the chiller goes in through, and I'm like
on the lid,
wrapping it with plastic on top of the lid all the way around. Like I just take, as soon as I finish boiling, I go in and get my plastic wrap and just wrap the top of the kettle. And then sometimes I'll let it sit there for hours too, just to settle down. If it's especially if it's a hot day and I want it to cool down a little more with the ambient temperature outside in a summer brew session, I'll just let it go even a little longer, and then some of that cold break will even fall out, a little better fall out, and just the beer's a little clearer coming out. I just like to do that. It's another weird thing, but yeah.
So you think this is an issue,
it's
like a fermentation issue?
Sealed, something got in the fermentation. I can definitely
at a low level.
It's not. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you obviously gave it a good healthy yeast pitch. There's just something else in there that's pulling it a little off. So,
is this a flavor that you've had before in any other beers? I'm trying to look for common threads, because that'll tell you that it's not a one-off. It's a common.
Or do you even agree with us with what we're telling you we're tasting?
I don't necessarily think it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm not done the BJCP. I'm not really trained in all the off flavors very much. So if I like a beer, I kind of like it.
No,
and luckily I'm not trained to not like a beer, because there's something a little bit weird. If I like it, it's good.
Yeah,
but there is something in it that's a little bit.
Plus, you've been drinking on it for 3 months. Do you remember what it tasted like when you started?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, one thing I would say is that second bottle you opened, which, Chris, you had stored in your fridge for a few weeks, it doesn't have it as bad as the bottles that we judged, or the bottle that we opened here that went through that probably warm shipping. So that may have made a difference. So it may, again, if you've got a microbe that's growing in there and steadily making it worse, keeping it cold will help. Your other defense is, if you like it, drink it now. Don't store. This is not a beer to serve at Christmas.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and you make a good point, and that's something like we were talking about in the last show to really pay attention to, is when you enter stuff for competition or get feedback, it's what is the beer like to style? How does it compare to this set of guidelines? It doesn't mean that it's wrong, or it doesn't mean that you totally fucked up or anything like that. It just means that compared to what we've decided as the beer people in the world that a robust porter should taste like, it shouldn't have these flaws. But then again, if you like it, then that's why you homebrew in the first place, right? It's because you can brew the beer that you want to drink. So if you keep those very separate, and then you can maybe find little tweaks to maybe that isn't a flavor I enjoy, or and then you can kind of grow from there. But
yeah,
after that, I want to brew beer that other people want to drink.
Well, see,
so I can't drink all of it.
Right. That's the hard part, man.
That's the thing.
That's the tough part.
Yeah, I mean, JP can't do that.
I can't do that. Right. No, I'm even down to 2.5 gallons at a time.
I
still can't do that.
Right. Maybe 2 months a year. No, I mean, aside from the phenolic that's in there, this is actually a very nice beer. It's got that nice, rich cocoa kind of thing going on, some caramel under it. It's a good balance. Like I was saying this earlier, it's actually a good beer. It's just got this thing that got in there with it. That's the only problem.
And I could tell when I poured it, too, there was something a little odd. Like sometimes you pour a heavily phenolic beer, and this was not heavily phenolic, but you pour a beer that has some other elements in there, and it affects the head retention, too. Like you poured it, and it has this kind of noisy, loudly popping head that just drops. It just kind of sounds like a soda that's fizzing out and popping out. And it did a little bit of that for me. I was like, that's odd. And then, but yeah, after smelling the light phenolic in there too, I was like, something's going on in there, definitely. Because the other ones had pretty good head retention. And it wasn't horrible. There is still some head, and you can kind of rouse it up as you.
It fights its way back, that's for sure.
I'm still learning.
Yeah. Well, I would say for 95, 99% what you did, you got it right. This is a nice beer. It's just that one little yeast that floated in, the wild yeast that floated in there when you weren't looking, which is something to learn how to prevent. That would keep this a nice beer.
Yeah, and so the reason I was asking about the common thread is I have a friend who was doing his pitches in his kitchen. He was pitching his yeast starters. He would do his yeast starters in the kitchen. His wife makes bread. And he was like, it smells funky. And so I went over to his house, and it smelled like sourdough bread. And turns out she would be making sourdough bread, and then he would be pouring his yeast into the starter, and it was picking up the sourdough bread yeast that's in the air in that section of his kitchen. So he just moved to another spot whenever he would pitch his yeast, and that flavor just went away. So he was picking up in that specific spot. So if you're getting something that's reoccurring, try pitching in a different area or something like that, and that might be able to clean up some stuff for you.
And I mean, you guys live in Napa. You probably got more than your fair share of wild yeast floating around in the air up there.
That's true.
My old fermentation chamber used to be a wine closet that went through the earthquake and had a whole bunch of wine spilled in it, and I had to quit using it after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's firewood now.
One good rule, good rule is not to pitch where you crush your grains because the grains. I mean, everything goes into the air, and there's a lot of critters that live inside the grains there that will get happy in your beer too. So, yeah.
Let's crack this third beer. So this is.
Right. So the last beer was Jeff Sharp,
but Jeff's
the
not
guy
here.
who didn't show up.
He's Father's Day camping.
Right, okay. So he's gone, so let's slam the hell out of him.
Yeah. Father's Day camping.
He got suckered into. He takes his kid camping with other dads and other kids for Father's Day. That sounds like Mother's Day.
Yeah. It's like, is that what you? Well, if that's what he really wants to do, but I don't know of any father who gets to do what they want to do on Father's Day.
That sounds like a break.
Go to a beer festival.
That sounds like a break for mom.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
They took kegs with them.
All right.
Well, then it's not terrible, I suppose.
It sounds kind of fun.
Yeah. But I was, like, growing up, I always thought it was just some not stereotype, but just some things that, guys joke about. Oh, Father's Day, you can't really do anything you want. I don't think you really can. Father's Day isn't for fathers. It's for mothers to make their children understand how much their fathers mean to them or something. I don't know.
I'm going to the Pirate Festival in Vallejo.
Oh, yeah?
I heard about that, yeah.
What's a pirate fest?
I don't know. It's like a Renaissance fair for pirates.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's right next to Mare Island Brewing Company, too. So.
Oh, really?
Pop in for a beer, watch some cannons, have a beer.
They have cannons?
Oh, yeah.
That's insane. That's crazy.
That was beer, then cannons, then beer.
Thank you. Right.
Okay, in that order.
Well, is there something wrong?
No, that sounds good.
And then beer cannons, which is a whole different thing. Well, this is very robusty portery, which is very nice.
Yeah, this one has a really nice aroma, pleasantly roasty, low coffee-like notes in the background, clean ale fermentation. I didn't get any obvious fermentation issues in this one. The hops in this recipe. Yeah, we didn't go through the recipe yet.
I haven't gone through the recipe yet.
Talk about that after we kind of go through these three beers too, because the hop is nice and low where it should be. Mm-hmm. The low fruity ester is kind of in balance with everything else there. No bad stuff in this beer in the aroma.
Yeah, I will say that the common thread runs through them all. I mean, you can definitely tell that they're the same recipe in that regard. The process is pretty. Pretty solid.
I say they're very, very. Obviously the ingredients are all the same. They very much taste that way.
Yeah,
very much Menacer,
which is great. That's hard to do when you have that many variables.
Yeah. And the brewing on these beers, actually, all three of them judged by them is actually came out with very similar results. Mostly the sanitation issues or the wild bugs were an issue, but the beers underneath were very, very similar.
Yeah, kind of like a rich American style porter, like a Black Butte kind of a thing, or that along those lines, with a real, a solid roasty edge, and not so much in the middle, like not a whole lot of caramelly flavors mixed in with the roast. Mm-hmm. Just coffee and roast,
and chocolate, and and some caramel in here.
It's a good recipe, man.
Yeah, I really like it. And this beer, of course, it's the guy who was not here. Whose beer we decided was the one we liked the best.
Of course.
I mean, they're all the same, really, but this is the one that didn't have the bug in it, and it was really nice. It's a really good recipe. I mean,
which was bottled with my Blickman beer gun.
There you go. What can we say? And was shipped along with the other one, side by side.
Correct.
Well, that might be
much later.
That might be a clue right there. Did you bottle his beer first or before or after?
Months later.
Months later. Interesting. Okay, a month later. So maybe you said less. Well, yeah.
You didn't change any equipment on it since then, or you? Well, you cleaned it when you did.
Maybe I boiled the hose or something like that.
Yeah, you could have cleaned it better that time when you were bottling, or you were in a hurry the time you did yours.
Or you flushed out whatever was in there.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I would just BLC the lines right after you if you're not going to bottle for a while.
And I'll tell you this: the guys who came to you to put together a recipe, you did a good job. This is a very nice beer.
Cool, thanks. We kind of went a roundabout way of getting to a porter, but we got there.
Yeah, it's a very nice porter. It's very, very, very chocolate coffee, a little caramel. It's very mellow, smooth drinking, and it's. I'd be happy to have a keg of this.
Yeah, and the hops come through right underneath, and
yeah. You want to run through the recipe real quick?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Might be some curious people out there. If there's not, after listening to this, they should be, because it's a damn nice beer.
Okay. Well, again, like I said, we were working with what we had. It wasn't like I went to the shop and built my porter. This was more just trying to get the color and flavors we wanted. So you're talking 76% two-row, 9.5% Munich Type 2, about 5% Cara 50. That's an EBC malt. About 5% chocolate malt. This is BUNGS. 5% chocolate rye from Vireman. And then Northern Brewer for a bittering, and Willamette's at 5.
The real question is, how did you have this much grain enough to make 20 batches? What are you doing? Did a pallet fall off the truck, or what's going on?
A very common grocery store that you could spend a lot of money at tried to have a homebrew aisle and didn't succeed in Napa. And so they were nice enough to give us their sacks.
Aha. I see. Okay. So they're not doing that anymore up there.
Negative.
Okay.
Okay, well, then that explains a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, they had some good sacks of grain lying around there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
They did have some good stuff, and a fridge full of White Labs, which was quite nice.
That's a cool idea to do with all that, too. Yeah, just like, we got a club. Let's have some fun.
Yeah,
Everybody on board.
Well, what else can we say about this beer?
It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Chocolate rye. There's this sort of interesting sort of dry...
There is.
Spicy, greeny, chocolatey thing in the background there. I wasn't really sure what that was,
like
but
chalky,
it's nice.
Maybe
I'm a big fan of that malt.
Almost.
That rye.
It's kind of like toasted spices or something.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
Nice.
We're going to take our final break, and then we're going to come back and do whatever it is we do at the final break, and then go have another beer. Hang on, everyone. Dr. Homebrew will be back after this.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. High Gravity Homebrewing Supplies wants you to keep it simple. Brewing should be fun. And with High Gravity's amazing electric brewing systems, it is. High Gravity keeps their brewing systems simple, on purpose. More efficient than gas, customizable, and with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 vessels, High Gravity's electric brewing systems will completely change the way you brew beer, formulate recipes, and improve your beer's consistency. Dave at High Gravity can customize your system to fit your needs. High Gravity invites you to visit their Build Your Own Brewery page and see how easy it can be to brew electric. And High Gravity offers $7.99 flat rate shipping on most of their products. www.highgravitybrew.com. High Gravity. Keep it electric. Keep it simple. Visit highgravitybrew.com.
Hey, dude, you know what beer this is?
Oh, no, all the labels are falling off.
Yeah, or the ink is run.
Well, if it's the pale ale, you're good, but stay away from the quote-unquote Belgian.
Oh, man, this guy needs to get some grog tags.
Grog tags are reusable, write-on, wipe-off, commercial-grade bottle labels for your brew. The guys at Grog Tag are homebrewers. They wanted great-looking, sturdy labels for your bottles, buckets, carboys, kegs, and growlers. They also wanted a label that not only looks good, but can be easily removed and reapplied during bottling without that nasty glue residue being left behind. No residue, water-resistant, and ice chest approved. Grog tags stay on in water or an ice chest, and they stay legible. Visit grogtag.com to customize your label or coaster from dozens of different templates for free and see how awesome your bottles can look.
It's that pseudo-Belgian.
Yeah, we're getting him some grog tags, dude.
Grog Tag. At least your beer will look good. grogtag.com. Admit it. Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're just trying to dole out the prizes. So as everyone knows, just automatically for being on the show, everyone gets a nice little prize pack from 5 Star. You go to 5starchemicals.com. Check out all the cool stuff they have over there. And so we also have 2 other gift certificates. Excuse me, my brain runs faster than my mouth. It really is. Yeah. Gift certificates to GrogTag, grogtag.com, and to High Gravity Homebrew. You can go to highgravitybrew.com and check them out as well. They're a pretty rad online homebrew shop. So the High Gravity Brew, that one's easy, right? Because we give that to the highest score, and that is Nate. Missing Nate, right?
Jeff.
Yeah. Why do I always get missing Jeff?
Nate's missing too.
Nate's missing. Yeah.
Jeff's the one who's
Where is Nate?
Judge.
Although I have like kind of a slash on Chris's score sheet here, where the first beer bottle that we got was maybe a 27, and then the second one was right up there almost with Jeff's, I would say. So but yeah, we can give him honorable mention. Do we have honorable mention?
We don't. Well, we could. I don't have anything to give as an honorable mention.
We have beer. We can pour good beer.
Yeah, we'll buy you beer. Okay, so who gets the High Gravity?
My scores were tied for the other 2 guys. Brian, who did you have in the lead?
I had Jeff in the lead initially.
In the lead for the other 2.
Oh,
or in the trailing position.
In the trailing position.
So missing Jeff gets the High Gravity certificate, right?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations, missing Jeff. Yes. Okay, now for the Grog Tag, $40, at least your beer will look good gift certificate.
That goes to Dave. Or no. Yes, Dave.
Dave? Right?
Yes. Let's just give it to Jeff.
No.
Because at least he can bottle beer, right?
True. Well, if you've ever heard of Grog Tags, they're reusable, customizable labels you can get online and
they're pretty
punch in
cool,
some stuff, and they're rad. So that's their tagline, is at least your beer will look good. And so I'm waiting for the approval from Lee here, but he's thinking about farts.
I gave both of them the same score, so...
Oh, so just like...
Brian's the tiebreaker.
All right. Well, there you go, Dave. You win.
Well, thank you.
$40 to grogtag.com. Let me make a note of that because I'll forget.
I'll split them with Chris.
Okay, that was it, right? Did we do all our stuff?
I think we did, yeah.
I think we did all our stuff.
Okay, cool. Where's my...
Do you have any announcements for the next show?
I don't have any. Do we
Okay.
have? Should we?
I don't know. Should you yammer about your other shows we'd like to talk about?
No, that's all fine.
Okay,
I don't have
off.
anybody to talk
Bruce
about.
Strong.
Like I say, lunch meat's gone, so we don't need to talk about anything.
Lunch meat's gone. Exactly right. Well, I should say, do you guys have any questions for these folks?
Do we need 3 steps before we leave? Before you leave the room?
Yeah. Not at all.
I think, more importantly, you guys made beer and you bottled beer and you brought it in. That's half the battle right there. So the recipe came through just fine. There's a couple little minor things here and there, but overall, everyone's making good beer.
But it was an interesting experiment. It was a really old beer for us. I mean, we're talking like a 6-month beer, and then shipped, and God knows what JP did with it. And
trunk of the car.
I don't think God can see there.
No, you can't.
Your car have a trunk?
My car, I don't. My
you
car,
got rid of the bugs. So.
My car does not exist. So, I think every homebrew club should do this. I think it's a great idea.
It's cool, yeah.
Check
but
it out.
It'll show you too what storage and bottling can do for a beer, or take away from a beer. Sadly, in some cases. So it's pretty amazing the difference between that first one.
Yeah. That was cool. Thanks, guys, for coming all the way out from Napa.
I'll come to your garage anytime and have a beer with you, man. It's all good stuff. And all of you. Cheers.
Even the quiet ones.
I like going to Napa sometimes.
Napa's great. All right, everyone. This has been Dr. Homebrew. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Cheers.